Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Conscious Life Expo. My name's Steinfeld. This is an exciting panel. This is the future right here. I'm the author of this book, Making Contact, but we're going way beyond making contact here. We're going into this galactic knowledge. So let me just introduce, well, let me see, how many people are here for the first time at the, oh, wow. Yeah. Welcome. This is really the meeting of the planet right here. And in this room, it's the galaxy, it's the galactic, because we're going to really have some activations. This is the Starseed light activations. If this is not the right room for you, then it will be when you finish here. So let me just introduce the panelists. We have Jackie Laarael, and she's from Vancouver, and other round. She is going to do light language activation. She is a light language expert. She speaks many dialogues of light language. I don't even know one dialogue, but oh, yeah. Dialects. You want to say anything else about that? About your well, I'll come to questions after the introduction. And then we have the lovely Livia Devi, who from Romania and other places. She is a 7-dimensional light language mentor activator. She just did a great channeling yesterday. Thank you, Livia. Oh, you were there? Yeah. And my very, very, very good friend from Sedona, Melissa Flack. Flack.
It's one of those names.
I guess we're not as good friends.
I married
it. But anyway, multi-dimensional languages, Ascension Council, Galactic Builders, Galactic Families, Sacred Star Code activations. What don't you do? No.
I don't do contact.
Oh.
Just kidding.
Okay. All right, well, I'm really glad you're here. And an incredible reader if you want like a private session.
I do Akashic Record
Akashic
clearings
records.
here. Mm-hmm.
So we have light language Akashic Records. We have some more Akashic Records over here with Emily Harris. Son. Emily Harris' son. Also, first time here on the panel. And we're going to go deep into the light language and the Akashic Records.
Yes, I'm Akashic Records.
You're Akashic Records?
I mean, I do speak some light language. It was interesting when Jackie was talking about the dialects. I have no idea what dialect it is. So if we get into that later, maybe.
Oh, that's good. Maybe you could do the light language and tell you what dialect it is.
Yes.
Yes.
And
okay.
I teach people how to do the Akashic Records rather than reading. So if you want to read, if you want to learn.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for being here. Okay, we have Althea Lucretia Abanzao.
Perfect.
Really?
Wow.
Thank you. From Italy, South Africa, via the Galactic Council. You from there? What'd you say? We'll get there. And the one, the only, the superstar right here, Elizabeth April. New mother. Yes, really great. She led an incredible discussion in Las Vegas where she led the panel, and
I put you on the hot seat after.
You did, and I like being on the hot seat because I don't even get a seat here. But your galactic connection, you want to say anything about your connection to the galaxy and what you're bringing through?
Yeah, definitely no light language, but I'm very interested to hear what all these ladies have to say. And I just want to make a comment. It's not about what I do, but I just think it's so incredible that, we've got a couple of new people who have never done panels before, which is amazing. And the amount of integration that I see in the workers these days, like the teachers these days, it's not just mediumship, it's not just Akashic Records, it's not just Galactic, it's all of it. And I'm telling you, 5 years ago, you couldn't find someone who was into all of it. So it gives me a lot of hope. That's all I got to say.
Well, thank you. That's a really good point because it's an evolution of this integration, and that's why we're all here to be activated, to start to download the frequencies, and to be the Starseed leaders on the planet here, because it's time that the rest of the world knows what's really possible and who we really are. But let's do a little introduction to the mission here, like starting with you, Laura. How did you know you were Starseed, and what do you feel your essential mission is on the planet? Those are two questions.
I'd say the first clue I had was not feeling like I belonged here. I had that longing to want to go home. I had quite a lot of deep pain around that, so I started searching for answers. And in that quest for relieving that pain and suffering, I was brought to my heart, and settling into that space and growing from that space and discovering the power that I have within myself. And as I discovered my own light, as I became more grounded and accepting myself as a human being in this lifetime, I was able to reach back to the areas where I would call home. And so that's the connection with the Starseed, is all of those areas out there in space, in our galaxy and beyond. We have these touch points, I like to say. And, you know, some of us have had maybe different experiences with those energies, different levels of consciousness with those energies. But at the end of the day, it's that oneness and it's that connection to ourselves and to everything beyond that makes us feel like everywhere now is home.
Do you have a particular mission that you feel like you're here to do from the Galactic?
So my mission, I feel, is to help myself and others to make the connection with those different points out there in the universe, and to stand firm in our light. So I believe that we are to anchor all of that amazing consciousness that we can on this planet, so that this will help this planet evolve and advance and move into that golden age that we are destined to move into.
Nice. So, Olivia, you know, you're from Romania, so it might be a little harder to really come into your, you know, conscious awareness. Was it for you, and how did you do it, and what's your mission? Yes.
Yeah, so I had a very specific journey for me. So everything started in 2016 when I got fully activated in my soul mission. And it happened actually when I was living in Ireland. I was in between Ireland and Palo Alto. I used to be an executive in Silicon Valley before this happened to me in 2016. And yes, I feel like for me was not awareness, was a big download of data that came from Sirius B, from a 12th dimensional consciousness that trained me for 1 year. I then had a connection with spirituality, with any other starseeds, with mentors. I didn't even know what awakening and ascension is when that happened to me, but it was a very powerful journey because I was trained 1 year for 12D Sirius Council of Light, and in February 2017, actually 7 years ago, I became a trans channel for the 7th-dimensional Arcturian Council of Light, and from that moment onwards, I start to be on my mission. And, you know, I never quite identify myself with this, I can say. So, you know, I am a starseed, and I feel like we are all starseeds, but also we are much more than that. So the starseed identity is only the first layer of who we are, but when we go deeper within the layers, levels, and dimensions of our consciousness, and we understand who we truly are, we understand that there is a magnitude of our beingness. And, you know, in my teachings and how I relate to my work nowadays is to invite people to go deeper through those layers and understand their essence, their authentic expression, what they are here to do, how to fully relate to their existence and to relate to higher dimension of consciousness. So, you know, you asked what my mission on this planet is yeah, to activate light workers and light leaders in their soul mission, and to you know, guide the leadership on this planet in creating new earth realities and fifth dimensional timelines, not only in in physical form, but at multidimensional level, because this is where everything started.
I have to ask though, you're an executive in Palo Alto at a tech company, and then suddenly you're a Starseed. No, what happened to you?
Everyone is asking this, and I was trying myself to answer this question, like, what really happened to me,
Yeah, you were at the office one day, and suddenly...
Yeah, so actually, I flew back to Ireland, and it was a morning when I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and 25 people was waiting for me on the line on a Zoom call.
Who was waiting for you?
25 people,
25
people that I was managing, my team. And I fainted on the couch in my house. And when I woke up, I started to actually hear millions of people speaking in my head. And I used to be, and I'm still am, a very practical, logical, pragmatical person. And when I start to actually hear those millions of voices in my head, I pick up the phone and I call my boss and I said, you know what? I think I'm going through a burnout. Because I didn't know exactly what was happening, so it's like, I think I'm kind of losing it, maybe I'm stressed. So, he's like, okay, well, I can't help you, just go and fix yourself and come back. And, I didn't know what to do. I called the GP, I went and I see this beautiful general practitioner in Ireland that I said, hey, I'm just, hearing these millions of people speaking in my head and I can't actually understand anything. It's just noise, and she couldn't help me, of course. And yes, I end up actually, meeting a going to a psychiatric institution. And it was a very risky one, right? Because if you go into that space, you might be put under medication, and that's the end of it. So I'm saying that I met an earth angel, and I was like, everything was divinely orchestrated and perfectly aligned and guided, because this man actually, it was the director of a psychiatric institution, but also he was an awakened human being that spent 15 years in Tibet. And he was a Reiki master coming back to Ireland to reform that psychiatric institution, and he was training the doctors because he realized that half of people that were under medication, they were presenting Ascension symptoms. So they were not bipolar and they were not having any mental problems. So it's interesting how everything happened to me and how extremely guided and loved I am, and by the universe, because if I would have ended up in the wrong hands, probably I would not be here with you today.
Wow, thank you. Kind of touching. I mean, yes, it is. Thank you for sharing that. So Melissa, you've been around a while.
Yes.
And you work with people awakening too.
Yes.
You want to talk about your journey a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. So actually, I have quite a few past life memories of being on other planetary systems, and because of that, that was something I knew before Starseed became popular. And what my journey really is about, I really knew my whole life I was fascinated with humans, and so I know I can see through and see a lot of different things in human beings, and it's really fascinating to watch us all evolve. And I knew I purposely came here at this time so that I could help activate other people to really align with who they truly are. And one of the things with my mission is the Ascension. I've known this since 2000 when I first heard about the Ascension, and I started teaching classes, and I was like, that's what I'm here for. And again, no one talked about it. That was before everyone was out on YouTube talking and becoming YouTube famous. And what I realized is that when I was seeing all these past lives of other dimensions and traveling interdimensionally, that there are beings who I call the adventurers. Those are the ones who go, yeah, let's go to that planet and go see what's there and hang out with all that and go through the new ascension for that planet. And those people are unique in the star families because they're not from one star system, they're from a couple star systems. Sometimes you're from quite a few. I didn't see them. So those people, you guys, if you're here as a starseed, you're coming here as an adventurer. You're like, yes, I'm going to do that. And the thing is that it's hard for a lot of people who come here because it's been a while since we've incarnated in the human form. And when you incarnate in the human form, that means you have all those things. You know what they are. Pain, sorrow, crazy families. So all of those things are really important to understand that if you're having trouble, you can transcend it and you're okay with that. You have to just know who you truly are and go, yeah, even if I don't know what planet I'm from, I know in my heart that I'm here to do something, some sort of a mission through love.
Beautiful, wow. How many people... How many people have had crazy families out there? Yeah, most of us. But I also want to ask you, when you say the Ascension, how do you define the Ascension?
Okay. So I actually work, quite a few years ago, I was brought to a council, and they called themselves the Ascension Council, and then I saw like thousands of them. And I was like, wait a minute, what are all these councils and why are they all here? And basically, people think the Ascension is just about the Earth plane, but it's about the evolution of many species, because that's why starseeds are coming here, because they're coming here to evolve not just the human species, but other species as well, because we all communicate telepathically with these other beings. And they're connecting and watching over us. One of the first memories I have is, I think it was Lemuria, because I'm a little shaky on that part. But there were these people who, I knew it was like an experiment thing, and I was teaching some children and some people, and there were these watchers, and they were watching us like an experiment. But it was so loving and beautiful and divine that I didn't feel like, what are those people doing? I felt loved and appreciated. And so I believe the Ascension is really about bringing ourselves to our own higher consciousness and anchoring it in to the earthly being that we are. When we can anchor more of that energy, then we become the energy. And when we become that frequency, it's not about talking the talk, or it's really about embodying the energy of love and of a higher consciousness of acceptance of diversity.
Nice, thank you, Melissa. Okay, we are going to the right. Hi.
Hi.
Emily.
Yes.
You are an Akashic Records sort of expert in a way.
Thank you. You heard it here first.
I like the blurb. But, you know, so many people have so many different definitions of
Right.
Akashic Records. How do you define it?
I define the Akashic Records as the realm of consciousness that holds all intelligence, past, present, all possible futures, recorded from a neutral perspective. Neutral means unconditional love and zero judgment.
So how did you find the Akashic Record work? I mean, how did it come to you?
Oh, well, I was an actress for 20 years before I shifted into being an entrepreneur and a metaphysician, an alchemist, and a teacher. So when I left Missouri when I was 19, I quit school and moved to Los Angeles to become an actress. And what I discovered was I was really good in my head, but I wasn't great in the room. I would get nervous, and I didn't have a command over my subtle energy body. So what I started doing was meditating, Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, things that really helped me to cultivate that mastery over my internal energy. And the more I would do this, the more acting jobs I would get. So the more acting jobs I would get, the more I'd meditate. And anybody who's taken on a practice of meditation, you know that it begins to open up, and it has its own consciousness that begins to lead you. And I got to the point where I naturally wanted to help other people. I didn't really know how to do that or what that looked like. And what I'm recognizing right now, because I was thinking about, as you were asking the other panelists about what our Starseed origin actually is. I loved it when Melissa said that sometimes we're from many different star systems, because I felt that about myself. I've never had someone say to me, oh, you're Palladian, or you're Illyrian, or you're an Arcturian. Part of my mission and part of this theme that I'm working on in this lifetime and helping others with is self-initiation, which looks like stepping into, oh, I identify with that, so I'm going to claim that for myself. And I think our mission is that way a lot too. I mean, the mission isn't something that's going to land in your lap and be like some aha moment where all of a sudden you have all of this clarity. You have to take the steps along the way. You have to claim it. You have to discover who you are, what your passion is, what your curiosity is, how you want to share with the planet. And I think a lot of us are waiting for it to happen or a situation to happen. And so I did have sort of like a situation that happened with the Akashic Records when I was making this shift from being an actress into doing this work now. And it was just a conversation with a friend who was hurting. He had broken his leg or his ankle and wasn't healing well. And so I spontaneously said, do you want to come over for some energy healing? And I had no idea what I was going to do for him when he came over. So I was going to wing it, right? I was going to self-initiate. I was going to act like an energy healer. And so...
At least you're acting now, right?
Don't watch the actress turn psychic. Like, don't let that freak anybody out. And so through that process of winging it, what happened was his father who had passed came through. And I began to have a conversation with his father who had passed, and then afterwards, when I was talking with my friend, we were able to confirm all of those details. And it was such an amazing experience for me, never having had a teacher really, and I think that we all need teachers. I was still in self-study phase. But what I recognized was that we all have this ability to do the work and to raise our energy frequency and to turn ourselves back on. And that became, for me, more inspiring than any story, any movie, any TV show that I could be a part of in Hollywood that, is here to inspire humanity. Human potential is 100 times more inspiring and powerful. And so my life shifted in that moment. It was a timeline shift. And I felt it with all of my being. And at that was the moment when I decided that I wanted to take on a teacher and a mentor. And I found a teacher in Los Angeles and studied really deeply with her in the records.
Well, I love that you said you have to claim it.
Yes.
That is so key for all of us. Claim our power, claim our direction, claim our connection to this great cosmos we're part of. But you also said Akashic Records are sort of neutral, but don't we all have our own?
Every person, place, thing, idea, concept, relationship, Conscious Life Expo 2024 has an Akashic Record. Every single thing has an Akashic Record, yes.
And you teach people how to access that?
Yes, I teach people how to tap in and read the Akash.
All right, we'll get back to that.
And rewrite the Akash, for that matter.
Rewrite it?
Yes.
I didn't know you could rewrite it.
Oh, yes. Well, it's constantly evolving. It's a living entity, right? It's a consciousness that is continuing to expand and grow in and of itself. And while it's really powerful for us to download intelligence from the Akashic Records for wisdom, guidance, and clarity in our life, we're also uploading. In every single moment, all the aha moments that are pinging in your all's mind from this conversation, from this event, are uploading, right? Like Melissa said, we're not only evolving ourselves, we're evolving the collective. And the Akash is a particular technology that helps store intelligence and that evolutionary process.
Wow, thank you. Althea, you've had quite a journey too of your awakening. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, of course. So for me, it all started when I was actually very young. I was one of those kids who would see like shadows and couldn't sleep, and really I started opening up from a very, very young age. I then found out, getting older, that both my mom and my grandmother had the same gift. So it kind of was sent down the matriarchal side of my family. And then getting a little bit older, becoming a teenager, I started to feel very overwhelmed. Like there was a lot going on, and I started picking up energy, but no one teaches you in school how to shield your energy or how to, navigate life in the energetic realm. So I started kind of like finding ways to cope, which weren't maybe sometimes the healthiest. And as I kind of like went down and spiraled down a path, I had a few traumatic experiences like health scares and yeah, just like very intense experiences that then brought me to have a very big shift. So there were maybe like 3 pivotal points. I had one experience where I literally had beings come in my room, like this is 3rd-dimensional density, like they were physically there. And they woke me up and they were trying to do stuff to me. And I then was kind of like pushed back into the bed. And when I woke up, I heard them leave. And when I went back, I traveled back home. I was in Italy when this happened. I traveled back home to Cape Town, and I went in hypnotic regression. I did the QHHT Dolores Cannon method with a lady, and I went back as a higher version of myself to command these beings to leave me alone. And they, from the 3D experience that I was having, I was looking at myself. They turned around and looked at me as I was my higher version of self accessing the quantum realm. So how do you come back from that? Like, how do you, how do you go back to a corporate job or like, a normal life? So, and then I was then told by my guides, they were like, you needed that because of how you are. You needed a very intense perception switch. You needed to, I'm a person, well, I was, not anymore, but I was very like, I'm not going to believe it unless I see it. So it needed to be, and it was obviously contracted. So that was one of the main things that happened to me, and that was back in 2017. So that was, yeah. And then from that, slowly, I started really radically changing my lifestyle. For me, I'm a firm believer that everything needs to rise together, the mental, the physical, the spiritual, and the emotional. So I work a lot with my clients in assisting them. Also, like I put a lot of emphasis on the physical, the exercise, the food. Like it's really important to be very grounded because a lot of people are opening up now and they're accessing here. But they're struggling to integrate the information because the systems aren't grounded. That was my problem as well. I was accessing this like vast infinite realm of consciousness and I was getting all this information and I didn't know how to kind of like eradicate it and anchor it within my system. So that's part of what I do and how I help people. And what I've also learned is I feel like I was put through a lot of these experiences to share them like with people. So a lot of people who come to me, have had these type of experience. I was in quite like a traumatic abusive relationship as well, which I got out of. I work a lot with women who also, have come out of that and are rebuilding, their strength, their kind of like their self-love and their self-trust. And then what I mainly work on and focus, and this is what they've shown me and how it works in a lot of energetic systems and with people. There comes a point, and I can't say when that exactly was for me. I can't pinpoint one moment, but there comes a moment where you get a certain degree in access of heart opening, and you go back and you merge back in the twin union of the source. So then you start operating from unconditional love, and you're not operating more from ego, from trauma. Yes, you still have trauma and lessons, and you're still navigating your life, and you're still being human, but you're operating from a space that is beyond the individual self. And that's what I try to guide people into doing, into getting there, into accessing this part of self, so then they can go out and spread it with everyone.
Thank you. Beautiful. Would you say it's just an individual one-on-one mission, or is your mission also in a way a planetary?
So yeah, I mean, it's very interesting because we were having this conversation yesterday on how we are all expanding, on a collective level. I do a lot of collective work. I work a lot on the grids of the land, so I'll be sent to specific places and I'll activate ley lines within the land, and then I'll be sent to. It's quite funny. They send me to like concerts or like big events with lots of people, and then what I'll do is I'll go in specific places and then start clearing energetically. So for sure, definitely, like it's, and I think everything is to an extent a choice. Like if someone wants to do one work, then it's their choice. They can choose. When people come to me and they're like, "Oh, tell me my mission. What must I do?" Like you can do whatever you want. Like the infinite being of light. Choose your direction.
Well, no, that's great, because we meet people personally and collectively, planetarily, all those levels. Thanks so much for being here. Elizabeth, hi. I don't really know your story. I don't know how you got into this whole thing, and you know, I'd love to hear it because you're out there. Good luck.
Yeah, it's been a journey for sure. I'll kind of lay it down briefly, and then I'll give you an update that came to me in the past month, actually the past week. So yeah, I was also born with extrasensory abilities. Could see energies and shadows and ghosts and spirits. And my dad, who's actually in the audience, so hey Pops. Also, can you turn your flash off? I can see your flash from all the way. It's such a boomer move. Love you. I love you so much. If you ever see me wandering around and there's some guy in the background with a camera, that's him. So, my whole life, actually. It started in the 90s with this. Which I love you. Thank you. Anyway, so, you know, I grew up in a Catholic family, so, you know, I would tell my dad, you know, I'm talking to something, and I don't know what it is. But, I mean, the Catholic religion teaches you that if you're seeing something that no one else can see, it's got to be either God or a demon. And I'm like, this is a cool thing, like, this is a good energy, this is a loving vibe, so it's definitely God. So even at the age of 6, I told my dad, you know, hey Dad, I'm talking to God, but hold on, you know, the Bible has it wrong, because I'm talking to God and God's a woman, right? I mean, like, right off the bat. Now I understand I was actually communicating with a Pleiadian spirit guide, but back then that was the context that I had, right? My mom, on the other hand, and I love her, she's my biggest fan, probably other than my dad, but she was scared, you know, she was really scared of my gifts, and, you know, she would tell me things like, you've been watching too many scary movies, like, don't worry about it, it's not real. And so I really got two different sides of this upbringing, and now having a son myself, I know the way that I want to really introduce him to these things, and then allow him to choose. So that was kind of my upbringing, you know. So then kind of shut down all of my abilities at a young age, maybe around the age of 10, because I didn't have friends and I was the weird kid and I had a lot of imaginary friends. And so I wanted to fit in, I wanted to be normal, and that's when I really got like invested into sports. So I started to kind of just do everything. So talk about going from very metaphysical to very physical. But then it went into 14, 15, 16. I was really struggling, you know, I had these big questions like, what's the meaning of life? Why are we here? What's the point? Like, really, like, what am I doing here? And so I sought answers. I went to high school teachers, I went to counselors, therapists, you know, to ask these really big picture questions. And it seemed like no one really gave me the answer that I was looking for. So that led me to talking to my dad about it. And he's like, hey, you know, I did this past life regression course when I was in, you know, university studying engineering. Would you be interested in being regressed? And I said, at this point, I'll try anything. So at 16 years old, in about an hour and a half, and we recorded it on a cassette tape. So we got that cassette somewhere in your garage. We went into probably 4 or 5 different lifetimes. And in each one of these lifetimes, I was in a position to receive information and to give that information, whether it was a shaman or a healer. And a lot of the times I was killed or tortured or banished for the information that was coming through. And so at that time, I realized at 16, oh my goodness, reincarnation is real. I'm not just 16. Time doesn't exist. And if this has impacted my life as much right now, then I wonder if I can take past life regression and impact other people's lives. So I ended up taking my dad's notebook of his regression notes. I copied it. And 2 years later, when I went away to university at 18, that's how I made friends. I would be in my political science class being like, yo, do you believe in reincarnation? And they'd be like, nah, you're crazy. And I loved the skeptics. That was my favorite because I had my own experiences. There was no telling me differently. So I would take these really skeptical, we're talking like engineering students, med students, and I would put them on my my couch in my student residence, and And the one guy who did not believe in reincarnation at all, he's down, and it's taken a while to get him under, and finally he's like, I'm swimming. I'm like, okay, great. Well, look down at your body. What are you wearing, right? Trying to get a time period here. He's like, my body, okay, I don't know if I have a body. What's going on? I'm blue. I'm blue. And I'm like, oh, and I've never experienced this before. I'm like, you're blue. Oh my God, okay. Okay, cool, you're swimming, you're blue. Okay. He gets up out of the trance state, sits up on my couch and says, I'm a fish. I was a fish. I'm a fish. And I didn't know what to do because he's in a trance. So I'm like, okay, just keep breathing. Lay back down. You were a fish. That's great. So what was your lesson, And we went through. And so here's this guy who didn't even believe in reincarnation. Here he is going into a fish lifetime, which even today people don't believe that we can be fish and trees and other things. And then, of course, so at a certain point in time, I realized that not everyone was able to be regressed, mostly because they weren't able to let go of their own current present moment state and their ego. So I asked myself, how do I progress past life regression? How do I take this to the next level? If not everyone is able to get into that trance, and it takes 45, 60 minutes sometimes to get them under, and then it's like pulling teeth. So I decided that I could put myself into a trance-like state to tap into their Akashic. And that's what I started doing. And now with that, you get to travel through space and time. You get to go anywhere you want to go. You get to go to ancient Egypt. Even without looking into one person's Akash, you just get to review generations of human history, right, in that state. And so that was great. I was remote viewing, astral traveling, tapping into telepathy, downloading quantum physics, all at that time. If you asked me if aliens existed, I would say for sure. But there's no way they would ever come to planet Earth. Who are we? Who cares? We're an ant-like species. We're barely figuring it out. We're still warring each other, over religion and belief. So, as luck would have it, I get abducted. And all of a sudden, this far-off, distant concept really came into my living room, and it opened a whole can of worms, right? Then I'm pairing past life regression, remote viewing, telepathy with aliens. Great. So if we've been fish and trees and plants and humans, then we've got to be interdimensional beings, right? So let's go explore that. So then I started exploring my own Akashic record and all of my cosmic lifetimes and saying, holy shit, it feels like it's so different, but it's actually so similar, right? Like a lot of their stuff out there is very similar to our stuff here, which, to be honest, as a political science major, I was highly disappointed. Like, really, you guys? Really? You need a government system? You need an organization? Like, you haven't figured that out yet? And there's structures, and I've accepted it now. But yeah, and so that was 12 years ago, and it's taken me quite a while to process, integrate, and then to be able to help others. So, updated to this past week, I had a huge breakdown, and I always say you got to break down to break through. And fuck 2024. Can I swear? Fuck 2024. All right. Anyone else feel me in there? All right. It's been a crazy year. So I just want to say that I've had 5 ego deaths in 2024. It's been a month and a half. All right. And so one of them, I had to sit in the bath last weekend, and I'm like, man, I need to relax and chill and recoup and rejuvenate before this weekend. And so I'm sitting in the bath, and my biggest question is, how do I wake up the sleeper starseeds? This has been my question for months now. And this is what I'm calling them, sleeper starseeds. How do I wake? There's so many of them, and they don't even know. They don't know what divine, beautiful, conscious, cosmic beings that they are. And I'm not talking about you guys, okay? You're here. You're in the know. You're gaining access to these pieces and fractals. I'm talking about out there, the 8 billion people. How do we wake up the sleeper starseeds? And so as I'm sitting in the bath, it came to me as water. It's water. And yeah, I get it, water, right? Activate your water, set intentions. And what came through is imprinting water. So I started doing it. I'm like, okay, well, it makes sense, right? We all drink water. We are water beings. The dinosaurs have drank and pissed out water back then, and we're doing the same thing today. The water runs through all of us, right? And so if we can imprint water, then we can reach billions of people. We can reach the masses. So I started with my bathtub. I'm starting to imprint the bathtub with DNA activations. Hey, sleeper starseeds, what's up? All right, shit's gonna get pretty real for you, but it's gonna be great, and 2024 is your year. Like, the whole message is, get ready, it's time. Like, this is the time. It's no longer waiting. Step in, take action. 2024 is your year. So I'm imprinting. Yes, fuck yeah. And so then I'm like, okay, the bathtub's not enough, and I expand, and I live by Lake Mead, and what's Lake Mead connected to but, the Colorado River. I'm expanding, and I'm just reaching all of the water in my vicinity and imprinting that.
When you say imprinting, how do you actually imprint?
You focus. You set an intention and focus. That's it. That's all imprinting is. I can imprint this coffee. I can imprint this microphone. Everything's frequency and vibration. So as long as you just add your focus of frequency and vibration into the things around you, you're imprinting it. Yeah. I mean, it's as simple as that. So I was just focusing, imprinting, and I really do think that, just like showing up and doing the clearing of the grid lines and clearing of the groups, I mean, that work is just as important that we all do, is just focus and intention to activate as many people as possible. So I know that my mission right now is to activate the sleeper starseeds. It's not to be here with all of you, even though I love it, right? But you're good. You've got this. I am here for I'm here for everyone else, to help guide them, which is crazy because I'm like, aliens, and they're like, my life, and so it's like bridging the gap, right? So that's my mission. That's what I'm here to do, and that's my story. I know it's like long-winded.
No, it's great.
Like there,
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you for being so vulnerable and open too. And glad you're here. And so, you mentioned 2024. I think that's and it's sort of an arbitrary thing because on the galactic level, there are no numbers like that, 2024. But we are, consciously moving into this time of Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius, and the year of the dragon, and something seems to be different, some new adventure this year for this planet humanity. So what do you think there, Laura, about the future? How do you see it, and how are you helping to make it the best future possible?
Well, one of my teachers shared with me that the year of the dragon is a lot about seeing and not seeing. So, and then navigating the things that we can't see, which is challenging because we can't see them. So I think this year is going to be important for all of us to be as present and grounded as we possibly can, of course, in our heart space, so that we can navigate those energies and those challenges that are bubbling up for all of us. Like, I had a rough start to this year as well, and a couple of ego deaths, and I also found myself in an Epsom salts bath before coming here. So I feel that. So relying on those good tools that we have so that we can navigate this really crazy world. So for myself and what I'm sharing for this year with people, I use light language and light codes. Certainly going to be tapping into more of that. And I feel I navigate the challenges of this world best by seeking the greater picture, by raising myself up to be that sacred witness and not take things so personally. I find that we can get so caught up in our day-to-day lives, and that's where the challenges lie. And we can't address the challenges from the same plane that we are having those challenges. So we have to raise our consciousness. We have to get above those issues, those challenges, those struggles, so that we can gain that greater perspective and then address those energies. And everything is frequency, everything is energy. It always comes back to that. So understanding that the energy is key. And even when we're bumping up against those difficult energies, finding that way, like the dragon can move. Like the dragon is a spiraling creature, right? Like it flows through water and air, and it's able to glide. So I think the dragon can teach us a lot about navigating those challenging bumps rather than bumping up against those energies like I was earlier. Becoming more the dragon and being fluid, getting into that more fluid state, and using whatever means you that resonate for you. So that meditation, those movement practices, those the light codes and light language, like whatever it is that you need that's going to raise your vibration so that you can move.
What do you think about the interface this year between us and the galactic others? Do you feel that's going to happen more?
I feel like they are always present, aren't they? Like they're involved with all of us in a collective way and in an individual way in different levels. I feel like everybody's sort of waiting for them to make their big appearance, and I personally don't have a sense on that. I think some of the other panelists probably do have a better sense on that one. I feel like they're going through their own stuff as well.
They're taking a Epsom salt bath somewhere.
But maybe they're coming from a different angle, so they might have some suggestions for us that can help move us along. So that's where I find like they're quite helpful for us because they have a different angle. Yeah.
All right, great. We'll come back to you. Thank you. Livia, what are you getting from a 7D dimension about this year, this time, the future?
Yeah, so this year is a very powerful year of transformation and embodiment. And for me, the way I have experienced it in this first 1 month and a half was a huge potentiality of linking in and synchronizing with the higher frequencies of abundance and wealth and expansion and evolution. So, we are all living in this beautiful quantum field of consciousness, and our frequency output is synchronizing with the frequency reality that you emanate. So it's very important for us to understand that we have a collective reality and we have also a free will, which is a very powerful instrument that we can exercise in our day-to-day life. And when we are using our free will and intention to synchronize with our highest timelines, then we get to experience not only how it is to pioneer new timelines for humanity, but also how it is to experience a life that is truly in alignment with who you truly are, into your highest expression of joy and abundance and evolution and co-creation and community and partnership. So it's important, for each and one of us to actually understand this choice that we have in our day-to-day life in choosing our individual reality and our collective reality, because when we choose our individual reality, we are creating a new timeline within the collective. We are creating a new stream of frequency when other people can actually join you. And what is important is that, for us to understand the vast space of consciousness and that there is a limitless space of co-creation. So, we are speaking about starseeds that are just awakening, and some of you have a mission of actually activating the third dimensional timelines and to do some groundwork, maybe grid work or different activations on and working with the elements in actually activating the third dimensional realities. There are other light workers or light leaders that are operating on the fourth dimensional consciousness, where they are here to actually hold timelines for humanity and allow others to experience, what it is, quantum time-space reality, because time has come for many of us to understand that we don't have a linear existence, and we are tapping into this quantum time where, there is a vast space of possibility. And exploring our consciousness is is interesting, but also when we are able to bring what we are seeing into the higher realms of existence, into the 7th, into the 12th, into the 5th, into the 3rd and 4th dimension, when we are able to become the alchemist of transforming frequency into matter, this is where power lies within. And I feel like more and more of us are tapping into those innate abilities of our 5th dimensional abilities of, bringing elements from the quantum field into the now reality. And you can call this manifestation, I call it quantum physics, because it's a very simple way of connection. And my manifestation is actually teaching us, you have to follow this ritual, and maybe in a couple of days and months and years you are going to manifest. Well, when you go into the quantum field and you plug into the frequency stream that is there, this can happen instantly. So we have this ability available for us right here, right now. And when we are able to transform energy into matter, when we become our own alchemists, it's very powerful, because then we set up a different tone for humanity. We are able to actually not only pioneer, but show to others what is possible. So what is important this year in 2024, because it's a year of potentialities and abundance and co-creation, is for you tapping into your innate powers, into your soul mission, into your unique authenticity and essence, into understanding who you are at multidimensional level, not relating to yourself as, through the identities of who you are right now. My name is John, my name is Mary, and I'm this and that, but trying to dissolve those identities and going deeper and deeper and deeper within the multidimensional stream. And then when you go there, you start to actually, instead to zoom in, you start to zoom out more and more, and you start to see yourself from the top of the mountain, not from the valley anymore, and you start to understand who you truly are. And it's powerful. And my wish to each and one of you, and my inspiration and my desire, is for you to actually find within yourself those powers, and to understand how powerful each and one of you are. And to understand that when you walk on this earth, you create a ripple effect for others. So even if they're around you, there are non-awakened beings, they are feeling you, they are receiving you, they are seeing you, they are co-creating with you. And it's not so much that you need to do, it's about being. So when you activate these abilities within yourself, it's not like you need to take action, you need to fly to Antarctica to do grid work there. It's like you don't, if it implies effort, this means that you are doing something wrong. So to be an effortlessly being of light and to be fully embodied in your 5th dimensional consciousness, it means that you are flowing in time and space effortlessly, and you invite grace and ease into your life. So by being, and what does it mean to be? It means to embody the higher frequency, and it means to actually anchor within yourself the highest frequencies of divine unconditional love, compassion, kindness, co-creation, and other values that you already have. But the challenge of the human beings is to actually be consistent. So you can experience unconditional love now, and if someone pisses you off, in the next moment you are just mad, and you are not in that state anymore. So an embodied being means that you are able to experience the full spectrum of who you are, and always go back to your highest frequency realities. And this is important.
Yeah, no, did you have more?
No, I can speak like for hours.
I was thinking maybe you could channel something. Maybe we'll do one more round, and then people could really show off their gifts. Not show off, but use. Because that's ego. But really activate them. But do you feel comfortable channeling the next round?
Yes, but I need a little bit of time to go into a trance. It's not happening to me instantly.
Okay.
And I know that the ones that had been yesterday in my workshop, I do a guided meditation. It takes a little bit of time. It's not like a button that I press on and off and I'm out.
Yeah. Well, how much? Maybe you could prepare as we talk to that side after.
Yeah, it's like maybe it takes like 10 minutes for a guided meditation, and then I let the counsel to flow through me.
You want to lead a guided meditation, or your inner self?
No, I will lead it. Yeah, because I need everyone to actually synchronize here in the room and connect you with the higher frequency. Yeah.
All right, but maybe other people can participate in that meditation. We'll get there. Okay.
Okay. Well, you asked, I answered.
All right. No, that's fine. I'm happy. Thank you. Okay, Melissa, what's coming down here? You live in Sedona. You're at the like ground zero of
Yeah.
higher energies. So
Yeah.
tell us.
Yeah, I was brought to Sedona to actually anchor in a certain consciousness. So actually, speaking of channeling, the question that you were asking everyone else, can I share some of that? Okay.
Sure.
So the builders, and they build the grid system. So basically, these grid systems are all come from the quantum. So I work with the galactic quantum and the galactic akasha, and from there, it's the imprint of different blueprints that are. There are different blueprints connected to planetary systems that are being upgraded, and there are different levels of upgrades. We're just at the precipice of the upgrade of this level from, they say 3D to 5D, but this is just the precipice of this. So the blueprint has already been created. That blueprint is already, there's blueprints out there like that. So what happens is we utilize that blueprint, and then we're being activated through that blueprint, but our consciousness is part of it. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but our consciousness is activating the blueprint that is being for the new matrix of the new earth. And the thing is that what you really want to understand is that you as starseeds and light workers, or who'sy what's-its, whatever you need to call yourselves, you need to embody the energy. And that's so important. We've already touched on that a little bit. But when we're creating this matrix, your consciousness is activating pieces of it. So the more of us who are awakened, and even if we falter into a kind of time for a bath type of thing, that doesn't discount the energy that you're bringing through. So all of these people are all working as a consciousness, and many people are working beyond this realm. And most of us are very multidimensional beings. And when you're a multidimensional being, you're actually creating more of a collective consciousness for the new earth. So that is what's happening here. So the builders are working really hard with specific light code frequencies. What I've been told recently is that there's a new star code frequency that is coming in 2024. This star code frequency it's being activated, of course, through all the ways of the photons and other things, but in events like this, and they're actually activating the room right now. So if you're feeling a little activation, it's already started, because they started creating the grid in here as soon as the panel all sat down and settled. The grid was being created. Yeah. Yay.
I did feel a little dizzy. I really did.
Yeah. It's really right now I have all these councils who are talking to me, and they're all talking to everybody else, and then the builders start. When the builders start, it starts activating the space. So welcome. Anyway, but that they want to say is these new star codes, they're specific for the collective consciousness of the adventurers that we already talked about. They are being activated. So I know many of you came here and you're like, what the hell is this thing that I'm in? What is this? And it's okay, because the new photonic energies and keys and glyphs and codes and frequencies that are coming through, they'll be coming through for the next 3 years, and they will come in waves, and it will come when you're more ready and when everything is in alignment. And it's not just planetary alignment, by the way. It's also you and your higher consciousness have an agreement. And then you have agreement with your guides and the galactics. So yeah, there's a lot of energy that's coming through.
So how can we receive it the best way?
Hello. Welcome it in. I activate a lot of people. That's kind of one of the things that I do. And we can activate I've been activating people over Zoom since Zoom really came around. So you can activate them. You don't have to be right in the same room.
But you are sort of activating us now in a way.
I will claim that I am activating. They created a grid. I was watching it happen, and then the builders, when she started like bringing that energy in, the builders started coming, and I call them the builders. That's my name for them. But I literally watch them. They're part of the councils a lot of times, and they'll ask like, "What does this system need? What's in that matrix over there? What do we need to do?" But I love how the blueprint's already created and we're actually activating that blueprint. And I love that. That just makes me feel so elated because our consciousness is activating what is in correct alignment with our planetary system, because it's always unique. And we have unique systems here, like all of us are unique star systems within ourselves. They're not out there, they're within us. We hold the energy of the star systems.
Thank you. Were you sort of channeling there?
Yeah.
I thought.
That's why I was like in and out, sorry.
But maybe next round you could do a little
Okay, sure.
more channeling. Yeah, why not?
We'll ask.
Ask if you could. We'll do a little channeling medley here. But hi, Emily.
Hi, Alan.
What do you see for the Akashic future?
I'm gonna take grace and ease for 500, Alan.
500?
Yeah.
Good category.
Yeah, I agree with the grace, the ease, the simplicity, the message of simplicity, and I learned best by examples and stories. So if it's cool, I'll just share an example and story with you guys about what that actually looks like for me as a Starseed, galactic entrepreneur, human mom, putting all these pieces together, right? So in 2015 is when I learned how to read the Akashic Records in this lifetime, and then 2016 was when I started my business. And I have 3 children. I split with their dad. We had a very karmic relationship, and once we split, life got pretty challenging. And I'll be honest with you guys, when I was in 2015, when I was starting this, I needed assistance, and I went on food stamps in order to, make ends meet for my family. And as I started learning entrepreneurship and stepping into my potential, I was leaving Hollywood, where you get paid a ridiculous amount of money to show up, but then you might not have a job for 8 months along the way, right? So I had already had interesting lessons that I had learned with money and wealth and sourcing and resourcing, and how often that happened and how often it didn't happen. So this has definitely been a life theme for me. And so once I really stepped into my mission and I began learning, and strategic allies were placed in my path that taught me, I've now learned how to create a business where we do multi-6 figures a year. I've got my amazing executive assistant, Kathy, is here, and she gets to work with me full time, and that feels really powerful and special for me to go from a place where I couldn't even help myself or my family, and being able to not only help others in sharing our mission, but the people who come in and work with me in my organization. There's something really special in my heart that feels alive. And as we're growing and our mission and our platform continues to rise, my human thinks that I need to do more, that we need to do more, that Kathy needs to make more posters for us so that we can put them all in our booth down. Y'all, we made so many posters, they don't even fit in the booth down there. And we're a few booths down from Jerry Sargent. Anybody hear Jerry while you've been here? Yeah. Jerry's got the simplest setup I've seen. He's sitting there with his chair and he's just helping people. And I'm recognizing, okay, so this will be the next up level for us, because what happens is the complexity can become a distortion in your field, and the complexity is connected to all of our karmic issues that we still need to work on, all of those unlearned lessons, right? Like worthiness, or how do I have to show up so you guys are gonna listen and pay attention, and what the why? Like these are the things that my human mind questions, right? Even as my galactic self knows that I'm the human and I'm going through this experience, my human still goes through the experience. And my ego still gets involved. And I want you guys to like me, and I want you to think I'm smart when I show up here. So we make a bunch of posters, right? I bring you guys in. And you don't have to do that. You just show up and be. Just really connect, right? Bring your authenticity, which is easy. It's graceful. And it will change not only your life, but it will help align us in these blueprints that are shifting for our planet.
So, thank you. So, that's your main advice for 2024. What would you say for this year in particular, if you kind of connect with the economy?
Simplify.
Okay.
Simplify. Yeah.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Emily. Yes. Okay. Althea, should we start the activation?
Would you like to do it?
Well, we can then start with you and go around and go through all, or do you want to say something before we
I just want to
can?
add one or two
Yes,
things
please.
with regards what's happening going into the new year. So with regards to the grids, it's very interesting because I was also shown around January, there's a lot that's been happening for a lot of us in the astral space. We're going to be using a lot more the astral space within the multidimensional essence of our individuality. So what does that mean? It means that a lot of timelines are going to be cleared, but they're going to be cleared in the quantum field, so they're going to be cleared in the astral space. So a lot of you guys here and a lot of, the people who are, on this journey, but even the ones that are not necessarily consciously aware, they're going to be doing a lot of work of clearing in the astral space. So I was shown, it was very interesting because I was shown all these souls leaving the body, when they were sleeping, going to other souls and just putting light and activating them within their sleep. And as that was happening, it's almost like the grid around them was activating as well. And it was very beautiful because when we all sat down, what I saw is we all anchored into kind of like a channel of light within our chairs. So that was also quite beautiful. So that's something that I saw that's that's already started actually in January. I generally find that January and February are still almost like a release from the year before, and we only start anchoring more into the year fully with the start of the astrological new year, so towards March and April. And then something else is that a lot of scarcity templates are going to be released and removed. So this not feeling good enough, this lack of abundance, this shame and guilt around money and things like that. So that's quite a big one, and a lot more starseeds going mainstream. I'm seeing it more going into the public eye. People seeing, people recognizing, and some of them not even necessarily as consciously aware, because it's really important for me to understand that even the people who are not necessarily, doing the healing or aware or whatnot, they can still be in a really high alignment functioning individuals. And they're still assisting within that level. Let's say someone's like an architect and they have no idea what spirituality is, but they're building schools for children. They're in the mission, they're in their heart, they're assisting on a collective level. So, almost like more of that happening, and definitely more of the scarcity template releasing and more mainstream visual activation. Yeah.
Well, one thing I want to add, is that I think women are going to lead the way. I mean, look at the panel and look at the audience there. I mean, you need that little bit of male, the yin inside the yang inside the yin, but go for it, take it. Because I don't think we did a great job up until now, so it's okay, it's got us here, but and then eventually we come together, right? So, anyway, should we do some activation? You want to do a little bit, and then we'll go along, and you can do something?
I want to say a couple things.
Please, okay, yes. Wait.
Sorry.
No,
That's a lot to say.
That's why you're here. No, please, share. Thank you.
Okay, so it's interesting because you mentioned something, and then this memory popped into my mind, and you forget so many things because a lot's going on. But many years ago, probably 2012 or something, I had a client, and I don't do any sessions anymore, but I had a client, and I even remember his name, Richard, and he was an engineer by trade, but he came to me, and at this point, I was just meeting starseeds, and first session, I'd be like, I'm a life coach, and then I'm like, you're an alien. know, it's like they didn't know what they were signing up for, but they did know because it was contracted. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to mention this because it popped in, and then I want to mention a couple of things about what we can all do for 2024. So anyway, Richard, in our first session, and honestly, I've never actually seen this role again since then. Not that it doesn't exist, but it's just like, I guess it's more rare. So apparently this guy, okay, in his galactic self, what would happen is, and this is just one small example of planet Earth, but this happens on many planets all around the universe. And so essentially when an individual on Earth is ready to be activated, there is like a signal that is sent out, okay? It's an energetic signal. You don't have to even say, I'm ready, even though a lot of the time when you say, I'm ready, it helps with the signal. Sometimes if you're like, I'm ready, and contractually you're not ready, I mean, that signal's not gonna be sent, right? So free will and contracts, it's this constant kind of juggling match. So a signal is sent from planet Earth up to what I saw anyway was a ship, a Galactic Federation ship. And so the way that I saw it was, it's like a vibrational signal comes up, and it's kind of like being a chef, and all of a sudden you've got an order, right? The ticket comes in for the order. All right, we've got human Rebecca down there, and she needs an upgrade, and based on where she is now, here's the upgrade. And so this guy, in his galactic form, he would be an upgrade alchemist, okay? I kind of called him an upgrade engineer because that's the framework that he recognized in this body. And he was cool. He was like an older man. I'm like, Richard, you're like this upgrade engineer. And he's like, what? And so basically there was a number of these beings on this ship who would get all of these tickets in every day, every moment, you know, on and on. And what they would do is they would put different frequencies together. And so this was a manual process. Maybe they've expedited it since then. This was a long time ago. And then there would be, like, the way that I saw it visually was like a ball of energy. And so this was the upgrade. It's like, all right, Rebecca's ready. Send down the upgrade. And they would send down the upgrade to planet Earth. And a lot of the time that looks like, you know, I'm losing my mind. I can't sleep. We all want the upgrades until it's 3 a.m. You're like, I just want to go to sleep. You know. It's nice to, recognize that that's an upgrade in the moment, but it's not fun, right? Upgrades aren't fun until afterwards and we do the integration. So that just like reminded me of, there actually is like a structure and a process to these things. And please remember that you can say, I'm ready for cosmic disclosure, I'm ready for contact, I'm ready for upgrades. And yeah, your ego might be really pumped and really excited, but contractually, energetically, there are still some things that you gotta do, right? Some ground level work before you get there. However, 2024 is an exponential year. 2 things I want to mention about 2024, things that are tools that I've gained access to in the past 2 years leading up to this time, because this is a really important time. And I've said this since 2016, 2020 to 2024, downfall of the old Earth, 2024 to 2028, the uprising of the new Earth. So no, 2028, we would all love to see the fifth dimensional plane in action, but I think it's going to be more like, oh great, we've had some really big shifts within our systems, and there are a lot more solutions that involve the whole rather than the individual. That's really what it's going to look like. It's not some magical fairy land of butterflies and rainbows. We're still here in this room, probably in the same room by 2028. What up, future? But the systems collectively will shift, and they are shifting. So 2 things for the individual to apply this year. And no, it's not beautiful 5D upgrades and talking to aliens, sorry to say. And yeah, that can come too, right? And abundance and manifestation and letting go of all that shit. Yes, but the groundwork, okay, 2 things. 1, vibrational navigation, all right? Last year I did my workshop partially on vibrational navigation, which is a huge download that came to me in 2021, and that was something that we needed to start implementing in 2022, and here we are in 2024. Simply put, because it is a big concept, vibrational navigation is the ability to consciously connect and disconnect with the reality around us. I am drinking this cup of coffee, therefore I am entangling my quantum field with this quantum field. Yeah, this cup of coffee has a quantum field. Yeah, it's more neutral than, say, one of you, right? Because humans have a more complex field, and that's fine. If we can't connect and subsequently disconnect with the inanimate objects in our reality, then how the hell are we going to connect and disconnect with our mother-in-law? You know? So it's so important that we gain access to vibrational sovereignty through navigating the entanglements in our life. Vibrational navigation, vibrational navigation, vibrational navigation. That is the key to freedom. That is the key to accessing higher realms. That is the key to living your best human life. Because you're not bogged down by the bullshit of this reality, okay? Because you get to connect and disconnect within your own free will. And how? How do you do that? Focus. That's it. I want to connect with this coffee. Great. Be present with it. Feel the temperature. Feel experience the taste, smell it, be present with it, right? Disconnecting, cutting cords, whatever you want to do, visually, saging, crystals, intention setting, focus, saying an affirmation. We can cut cords and entanglements any sort of way, all right? But please start connecting consciously and disconnecting consciously in 2024, all right? Or else shit's gonna...
That is good. Thank you.
And one more thing for 2024. Oh my God, I just lost it. Hold on. It's really important, but I was so pumped about vibrational navigation. You know what? If it's not there anymore, I'll leave it. But I just want to. Oh fuck yeah, I got it. I'm sorry, I do swear a lot. I gotta. If I'm gonna go mainstream, I gotta figure that out. So right now, what I've experienced like really recently in the past month is karma is a bitch. Okay? So, like right now, we cannot get away with anything. And I'm saying that for me, 10 plus years of working on myself, and the second I don't learn a lesson, it's not a couple months that it comes back, it's not a couple of years, it's not a couple of lifetimes that shit comes back, it is immediately that comes back around, okay? So karma, right? It seems like a weird woo topic, but it's not. It's cause and effect. So please be highly in tune and highly aware of what you're outputting, how you're engaging, what you are learning, and what you are not learning, and what is coming back around. Because if you do not learn that, it's coming back around, and it's coming back around fast. And look, you don't learn it once, you don't learn it twice, shame on you, but the third time, learn it and move on, okay? Because that's why all this challenge is coming up right at the beginning of 2024, so that we can learn it, understand it, and move on from it, and then we get to access our freedom through vibrational navigation, and that's just the maintenance of the freedom, but really the freedom is clearing that karma by bringing things back around and bringing into neutrality through learning.
Brilliant. No, that was excellent. I got a little body sensation with that, clearing the karma and learning the lessons. I mean, that is major. But maybe you should put together a declaration of vibrational frequency, like, a little thing, so just a little...
I got a lot of videos.
Okay, good.
Alan, check out my YouTube. Did you subscribe?
I've seen you on there.
Don't make me check
But like a book, whatever. You got your thing.
It's in the works.
Okay. All right. So right now for we're going to start the activation because we are here. All right. Are you ready? Whether you're ready or not, you'll know, right? Love. Do you want to do some light language, activate the frequencies, and then we'll just kind of go on. But
Okay.
go for it.
Sure. Okay. So we will start with some I'll do universal light language, because then it's all encompassing.
Should we do something when we're listening?
So I would love for all of you to take a couple of deep breaths. Feel into your feet. The idea here is that we want to bring in this energy into our bodies. We're anchoring it into our bodies and anchoring it into the earth. But feeling your feet is really important in doing all that. And then tune into your heart space as best you can. And just continue to breathe slowly and deeply throughout the duration of this channeling and probably throughout the duration of everybody's offerings. This will be universal light language activation. Amo Aya so kana talai eo kana tai. Panatia so kana da yado kabata no ama setikita ke kana da yado kabata na e so kana da yado de yuto go to kushigna ano. Hana ay so kana talai tu shikana dia satati de kabata no katana e so kabata ay shiya kana tala ay so kamadia. Hapana ay so kote talai ti chukupa ma ay no kabata na dia so kabata ay no kabata. Pana ayusu kana da yeso tana ayusu kuchigana aduku kama di kotakama asola ayusu kana da yesanandukubata. Right now we're building like ley lines that are above everybody. And now that those are kind of coming together, we're going to be connecting all of you more strongly to them. And then that energy is going to settle down into the earth through you. Rana dolai sotana iso kamato. Oh no.
Just give me a galactic cold.
Yeah, it's okay. Just continue to breathe. Feel your heart space. Come back to your feet. Come back to your heart. It's all good. Mana so kanadare sate ano ke badai shikranadare so kama anu pa mana pana tai sate ta kadadai ano ke banai shigana honadare so ke badai nan ke badang rota de rot ke mana de so honadare so ke mate shikina to ba ano ke badai shigama nan to mana yu to ba hona nai so kanadare tanai Hana saya to no kana tanai sanandai. Hama anu gabadai sananu gabatanai. Hama sayo atakanatakotakatanai. Hama sayo atakakotakatanai. Hona o. Hona o. Hona o. Mona aiso kana da tokabatai na a. Hani araiso kana dalai chijena ino gabadai go banaka no go kukana ano. Hano kana tukukumanano. Hana tu kukukana takanano. Abakana de abade so kana di. Panatio, panatio, panatio. Panatio samatiat kamati shikanat esugamana dugamat agrota takama ayot takamata hamato karata takalo so chikana itukata hatya takamata hatya satakapata hatya takapa ano karata lai sukapa hopanaso 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 so apana ho. Soya Dana. Soya Tanai. Soya Tanai Banai Shokanai Tiatakanotagimesi Tanakiana Hara 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 Sa Sa Sa.
You want to do something?
Sure.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Okay, sure. Go ahead. Thanks.
So I won't be doing light language, but we'll call in the Galactic Councils who are here working specifically for those who are in the alignment of the Sorry. No, it's all right.
Sorry.
I have a little
Game plan.
ADD. I get a little
No,
distracted.
no. Go ahead.
So I'm listening to all these other voices and then your
No,
voices.
I'm sorry.
too.
We're just kind of planning out the scene.
So, the Galactic Councils, they're saying that they are one of the many councils who are working actually with many of the frequencies who are here working on in the Conscious Life Expo here, and when they are moved past this plane of existence as well. So we're working multidimensionally with you. So we're going to be activating each and every one of you, mostly through the heart center. This is the frequency that we are needed at this time. We're moving from the density of duality and the fear and lower frequencies. When you hold lower frequencies in a very dense frequency and energy system, you are unable to embody the highest light language and light frequencies and light codes and glyphs. When we are activating each and every one of you, we activate you through the heart center, especially in this moment. We recognize that each and every one of you knows your heart so intimately, and you have forgotten the heart. You have forgotten is the way they keep on saying forgotten. And we're having a little communication issue here. They're saying that you have forgotten part of your heart. And you have forgotten that because you have lost that anesthetized this piece of you, and you have lost the full connection with that part of you when you incarnated here, because you were so used to being so heart-based. And then all of a sudden, the energies of this system activated lower energies that you weren't as used to. That wasn't part of your energy system. And we want to help you awaken that again. You haven't lost it. You just kind of disconnected. And that's what happens when you are in a body. You disconnect from your truest energy and self. So we just want you to take a moment and just acknowledge your heart space. We're weaving through the energies, through the group. We're actually weaving in and out of everybody's heart system like figure eights throughout the whole group. And what we're doing is we're weaving this all together so that as a collective, of course, mostly through the higher consciousness and higher energies, but as a collective, when we weave this through, we're activating a full heart consciousness within the whole environment that you are in, which will then connect to the other grid lines of others who are activating the heart frequency. So just acknowledge that. And if you feel like it's a little too much, just take a deep breath and breathe through your heart and allow more of that through. When we activate into the heart frequency, we recognize us. Oh, there you are. I see you. I acknowledge you, and I love you. We see the separateness in this world, and we get confused by it. How come you are this way, and I don't understand that? But you know in your heart, you understand them. You see through their facade into who they truly are. And we see you. We see your light. We see your beauty. We see your fullness of creation. Acknowledge being the creator. I am the creator of all that is. I am all that I am. Again, just recognizing the heart frequency. And we send you all love and light.
Thank you.
My turn? Yeah, I'm feeling called to guide you through a 3-breath activation. This breath activation is preparation that I take my students into the Akash. This is what prepares us to go into that temple. It's going to create a temple within your inner body. The intelligence has its own consciousness, so it gets to work with each of you as you've already ordained and designed it to. Please sit up nice and straight. Feel all four corners of your feet on the floor. Tuck your tailbone and chin under to elongate the spine. Take a deep breath in through your nose, creating space in your body, your mind, your emotions in the field. Deep breath in, holding at the top. Gently rest into the pause at the top of this breath. This is 0 point energy. There is reset happening. And when you're ready, a nice slow exhale through pursed lips, like you're blowing out through a straw. Good, exhaling all the air out of the lungs. Take your time. Second deep breath in comes in through your nose, calling light into your body from 360 degrees. Deep breath in. Pausing at the top of that breath, imagining every cell of your body illuminating with rainbow-colored light, radiating 360 degrees. Nice slow exhale when you're ready through pursed lips. All the air exhaled. When you're ready, that third deep breath in, calling your consciousness into the now moment. Deep breath in. At the top of that breath, take one more little sip of air. Swallow. Swallow saliva. Good. It's Taoist. It's rearranging your field. Good. Nice slow exhale. Letting go of everything that happened before this moment, everything that happens after this moment, and arrive at the end of that breath fully present in the now. And so it is.
So closing our eyes, anchoring into the body. As you find your comfortable breathing rhythm, with every inhale you breathe in light. With every exhale you let go of all that doesn't serve you anymore. I'm just going to secure space quickly, calling Michael to the south, Uriel to the north, Raphael to the east, Gabriel to the west. So we call on Archangel Metatron, this blue cloak of protection from above, sound of one to seal the grid from below. Call on our higher selves, our spirit guides, anyone else who wishes to be present for the greatest and highest good. You're welcome in the space. Opening systems. Releasing, letting go, removing, decoding, detangling. Some of you might feel this in the solar plexus, in the lower abdomen. Letting go, releasing. Calling in divine rays, more light, anchoring. Anchoring. These are codes of memory that I'm bringing in. Activating, attuning systems, expanding into more light, divine rays, anchoring, aurora rays, rainbow rays coming in, anchoring, attuning, expanding, letting go. Any limiting beliefs that are holding you back, you release, let go. I'm bringing in balance within the masculine and feminine side. Again, I'm working in the sacral, but you guys might be feeling it in different parts of the body. Balancing the new energies, anchoring. Rasieta tre okoko ratriate quieto kumari asieta kara nare asieto ku reateka rotoko ranietaka nte na ieto ri asiat naret narait kiet korate kokoko nayata sayata karata releasing releasing, removing, decoding, detangling, opening, expanding into more light, divine rays, anchoring. Na ira sia trea teokoko na ia ya shietaka. Ntara sia says we expand into the new system upgrade. Kiro no rata ratraya te kakara ishirataka. We come to a space of balance, unity, strength, understanding, compassion, patience towards the self, towards others, connecting. Yetokua na isietaka. Naratria te kara further understanding. Kiro kokoro shirata of self. Yishoro o hishanataka of the multidimensional aspects that we all exist in. Kiro kokoro ishirayataka raisanayataka. Riate koro ishirataka. Thank you.
Wow. That's beautiful. Does the Galactic Council have anything to add to that, Elizabeth?
I mean, what do I add to that?
You could find something.
Actually, no, I feel called to not do an activation and really hold space for everyone who's here, who's really, I mean, I just want to mention something, two things that just have come to me that are important. One, it's pretty cool because I'm a clairvoyant, which means I see energy. So as you guys are all doing your activations, I'm like seeing what they're doing energetically. So with the first light language, I was seeing like DNA codes like coming down, and I saw the grid lines that you were creating even before you said it. I'm like, oh, it's cool to get the validation. And then for you, it was like, you literally dismantled our entire quantum system and took out all of these finite pieces of like garbage, and then you like put it all back together. So for me, it's a light show, right? Like that was great. That was like the best entertainment I've had all year. So thank you for that. It's nice because you guys do the activations, and I thought that your breath work, and I just thought that it was very grounding, and the integration, it was like activation, integration, activation, integration. And so it's nice because I see what you guys are doing, and it's nice for you guys to get validation that you're really doing some important work here. And you know what you're doing, but for me to be able to see it, it's like pairing those two things together. That's just one thing I wanted to mention. That was really cool. Secondly, we might have one more activation, so I don't know if that's happening or not, but so I don't want to like tell you guys to close off right now, but with these activations that are so incredibly important, please, with the vibrational navigation, please just make sure that you're not closing off, but grounding, okay? When you even before you leave this room, please just like anchor your energy back into the earth, because this is really powerful stuff, and it probably is going to take you a couple of weeks. I usually say about 3 weeks. 3 weeks to integrate activations like this, and this is just one part of your experience here this weekend. So please just take it easy on yourself and know that the next 3 weeks you may get sick randomly, you may feel elated, you may have divine sparks of creativity, but please just make sure that you're grounding after this, and cutting some cords and stuff. Is really important. And then the other thing with like integration is water, okay? Please like chug an entire liter of water today at some point to help you also work with your body at the activations. So that's what I want to say. And I do one thing, so I just have to mention this, and I always forget to mention it. It's a human thing, but I got to do it. Today, I do have a book signing happening at 12:45. If you want to come. And then I also have a workshop tonight at 6. I'm always on a panel beforehand, and I always forget to mention it. But yeah, if you guys want to connect later today, I will be around at those times. And once again, drink water, ground yourself, and wow, just wow.
Well, thank you. Maybe before we end, you could lead us in a little like closing down, like
If we have time.
yeah, okay, but we'll go to Livia and then we'll see where we are. Thank you.
Right. So, are you ready to go on a spaceship now? Yeah. Okay, so I'm a trance channel guy, so which means I go into a trance and I don't remember anything that's happening here. The entry point is quite dynamic, so don't be afraid, because you wanted to meet another civilization, right? So they're flowing through me and you will get to know them. Seven-dimensional Arcturian Council of Light. And it's so interesting, right? Because I graduated political science, I even work for the government, as Elizabeth said, and now I'm trans-channeling seven-dimensional Arcturian Council of Light. So yeah, I don't know what went wrong, huh?
Oh, what went right? Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Let's go for it.
Seatbelts in.
Yes. So gently close your eyes. Bring your awareness to your breathing now. Inhale through your nostrils and out through your mouth. Let go of everything that is not serving you in this moment in time. Let go of all ideas, worries, expectations, fears. And now, with your permission, I will activate your column of ascension, golden crystalline light energy from the gray central sun now, flowing down through the stargate of our sun. And let this golden light now to go through your physical body, your energetic body, light bodies. And we are anchoring today transmission and activation into the fifth dimensional new earth crystal light. And I now invite to join me in this space, Council of Light from Arcturus, Council of Light from Sirius from the 12th dimension, Pleiadian constellation, 7 stars, Maya, Vega constellation, Lyra, Andromeda, Galactic Federation, Star Nation, Starseed Alliances, Archangel Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Metatron, Zadkiel, Sandalphon, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Quani, and Isis. Please join us in this space and create a vortex of light all around us. Only high vibrational frequencies to connect to us now. And ask permission from the spirits of this land where we all now are to anchor Arcturian frequency in the core of the earth. May today transmission be for the highest good of our individual consciousnesses, for the highest good of a collective, and for the highest good of all. I now ask the Arcturian Council of Light, my star family. And here we are, dear ones. Council of Light from Arcturus. Connecting to you in this time-space reality. We are pleased to be called again in this here and now. You are enjoying our frequency, we feel. So, dear beloved ones, we will not stay long, as we know time is an important matter on your planet. But what is important to receive is your highest alignment. As this year of your linearity aligns each and one of you with your highest expression, no matter what that is. Allow yourself to synchronize effortlessly, no matter in what time-space reality you are. The alignment is inviting co-creation. So when you are walking paths of self-discovery and self-realization, invite the highest alignment into your existence. And don't believe that you need special trainings for alignment to happen. You are already trained. You are already the highest expression of light. You don't need trainings and activations and journeys. You are not seekers anymore. You have arrived. And when you arrive, you align. We like A's, as our civilization name starts with A. This is how you call us. And alignment creates unfoldings in quantum time-space realities. And those unfoldings are to be embodied and experienced effortlessly. So, from now onwards, embody this fact that you have arrived, that you are starting now not to seek anymore who you truly are, but embody your self-mastery. So before you leave this room and before you let behind this moment in past, as in your mind, your memory will fade away. We are imprinting now into your consciousness the self-mastery codes to be a timeless remembrance for each and one of you, as you all had the courage to came here, right now, and share this space and your time with us. We start this imprint now with our light language. Itara, iko asayo, itana yaruna akasa, inaratera, inagaya ora, ito ana yosata, akoraya, ina atu, ayo a, ito, isaka ari, ino, ito ha, ita, satarayo, ana, tera, gaya, ora, asa, ina, ora, ikata, inorato, anea, is. You have graduated once again. And understand, dear ones, we will not come on your planet with spaceships. We are already here. Why do you need to see us in those vehicles? We are traveling interdimensionally through light vehicles. And your civilization will arrive to that advancement when you will realize your embodied self-mastery. And we trust you are. This timeline is already happening. It was a pleasure, our short intervention. From the regions where we reside, we are sending you our love embrace. Feel it now. Namaste, dear ones. Welcome back.
Wow. Thank you. I don't know if anything else needs to be said. Thank you. That's intense.
They are intense.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we have a little bit of time, and just wanted to do, you wanted to do a little light language, Emily, and see if Laura could figure out your dialect. Do you feel like doing that?
Or should we anchor in?
Yeah.
Should we just...
All right, let's anchor it. I love having a co-pilot. Thank you.
I got
All
you.
right, let's anchor. Go ahead, Gabe. April. Yeah.
You got to keep the men in line somehow.
Yes, go ahead.
That's why I switched sides.
That's why you switched sides, you said? All right,
If you weren't there, you wouldn't get it.
whatever. Go for it.
All right, so yeah, I mean, just wow. I think we're all just in that space. Let's just go ahead and anchor some stuff in. So close your eyes. Take a couple of deep breaths. Any way you want, whatever feels good. And I want you to imagine a pure white light column of energy coming all the way from the center of the universe. This is always there. This is not new. This is your connection to source. But that energy is coming in. It's bringing in those light codes. It's anchoring in that mastery. It's anchoring in the light language. Everything we just received, it's there. And those transmissions are going to continue over the next couple of weeks and even the next couple of months. Allow them to come in due time, in divine timing. And as you imagine this pure white light coming through the crown of your head, down into your body, anchoring into every cell of your being, I also want you to imagine a grounding cord going from the base of your spine down into the earth, down and down and down and down, all the way to the center of the planet, the crystalline core of Mother Gaia. You can imagine this cord being green, maybe with a little bit of gold in frequency. This cord will help you let go and release anything that no longer serves you. This cord is there. It's always been there. It will continue to be there. But it's going to start working now as a release for you over the next couple of months as you integrate the activations. As above, so below. As new energy comes in, old energy flows out. And this is why drinking water is so important. There's no need to necessarily cut cords with what you received today, but really focus on the grounding. Even you may not be hungry after an activation like this, but eat something today. Ground yourself into your body. No need to think about the activation or what you received. You already have it. Your soul knows. There's no need to even worry about it. It's there. So focus on the human. Focus on the grounding. Anchor that in. Focus on that grounding cord. Release anything that no longer serves you. And before we open our eyes, just please bring awareness to your body. Bring awareness to the temperature of your body, to the way that your clothes are fitting, to the jewelry that you have on. Be aware of the smells, the sounds, the feelings, the emotions. And anytime you feel a little bit overwhelmed in the space, just bring your awareness back to the sensations of the physical. And this will ground you into the present moment instantaneously. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes.
Thank you. I think we needed that. That was good. It's always good. Well, this has been an experience for me and all of us. And
Wow, you stumped him.
I think we're going to be different people when we leave this room than we were when we walked into this room. So it's really been my honor to host this gathering and know that there's frequencies impacting us all the time, and we are just here to receive this and evolve and awaken. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So thank you. Any final words as we go through? Anything you want to say about what's coming up, or you don't want to do 3D stuff? But go ahead.
Well, I have a workshop this afternoon at 4 o'clock in the plaza. Anybody who wants to come listen to more light language, we'll be channeling different galactic dialects.
Great. Thanks so much for being here. Yes. Anything, Livia?
So if you want to stay in touch, you can find me at liviadevi.com and on social media, on Octavian's channeling, Livia Devi. I don't have any other workshops and lecture. I fly tomorrow to Europe, so it was super amazing to be here with you all. Thank you.
Livia Devi. Okay, Miss Lisa.
Hi guys. I have a lecture tomorrow, Star Alchemy Mystic, and we'll be working with the Halls of Amente and getting another activation.
All right.
And I'm at booth 81, and I think my schedule is pretty complete, but I do activations and Akashic clearings, and I have an Akashic Records certification, and my book is called A Radical Approach to the Akashic Records, Master Your Life and Raise Your Vibration.
And you do privates, right?
I do privates, yes. I do private, melissafike.com.
Yes. Thank you, Melissa. Okay, Emily.
Yeah, if anybody wants an experience opening your Akashic Records, tomorrow at 6 p.m. we're going to be doing a workshop where I'll take you into your records. And we're going to be exploring soul mission, activating soul mission. Yeah, come by.
Okay, thanks so much.
Come by, we'll hang.
Right. It's the first aisle in on the main exhibit hall. That's where you are. And up here.
I'm sitting another panel in this room at 2:30. It's called the wtih Origins panel. And then I'm speaking tonight at 8, actually just after Elizabeth in the same room. So she's on at 6 and I'm on at 8. So I'll be speaking about light language. I'll be speaking about different dialects, how to kind of like a little bit about channeling. I always leave a little bit of leeway, so we'll see what comes through. I will be channeling, I will be doing full system clearing, so come there prepared. I don't have a booth, but you can find me on althea.com, and my Instagram is lightcodes by ALA.
Yes. And just look for her red hair. Elizabeth.
Yeah, so once again, 12:45, I am doing a book signing where the book signing stuff is, I only brought a couple books, so hopefully of your own, but we can also just take a picture, screw the book. And then I do have a workshop tonight at 6. I just downloaded it the other day. It's really incredible. It's all about activating your Starseed mission. So we're going to talk in depth about what that mission is. Are you ready to activate the mission? And then I will be doing, I'll be pulling names from the audience, and I'll be doing Starseed mission channelings as well during that. So definitely something you don't want to miss, 6 p.m. And I'll be at the thing tonight. I don't know what's happening tonight, but I'll be there.
Right, Elizabeth, April. Well, I'm Alan Steinfeld. I'm going to be lecturing on Sunday with the original Starseed, J.J. Hurtak. You get my book, Making Contact, although we just made contact, so it's all mute. And thank you so much for being here. Notice the vibrational shift that you are walking into when you leave this room, and spread that to everyone around the expo. Thanks so much, everyone, for being here.